There are more ways to wealth with Sharesies. Save with a great rate. Insure your car with no worries. Or join a KiwiSaver scheme with real choice. It's your wealth, your way. Do more with Sharesies.
I honestly, getting into business for me, that changed my whole life. Like, it's just been unreal for me and just helped me see life completely differently. I think I've kind of learnt to think a lot bigger, and as the bills in business and in life have gotten bigger, how can I think bigger to solve some of those? You never know what the feeling is like to give to someone without expectation to a complete random if you don't do it.
Kia ora koutou, I'm Garth Bray, and we're doing things a little differently on Shared Lunch for the next few weeks. More Than Money is about exploring the wealth choices that change us. Let's open up the conversation about what wealth really means beyond investing. We'll hear from some familiar folks and chat about the choices they've made on their wealth journey. Today, Sharesies co-founder and co-CEO Leighton is talking to Luke Kemeys from Keep the Change. First though, what is wealth to you? Karana from our social media team hit the streets to find out.
Kia ora, my name is Karana and I work for Sharesies, and I'm joined by...
Kia ora, I'm Carly.
What is wealth to you?
New experiences. This is outside of money, of course. Mm-hmm. But obviously money does contribute to those things, but being able to experience things, especially like things I want to do, you know, the norms like traveling, which is huge for me, I love traveling, meeting new people and experiencing that, or just anything like new, I like trying some new things every now and then.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd like to be rich because then I won't have to think about money, but if you can afford just what you want, like, cost of living is insane. If I could just work full time and also live normally, that would be great. I was actually laid off recently with a lot of the stuff happening for the news, and then, you know, we lost our jobs there, so I've just been chilling, giving away candy floss, just doing stuff, rock climbing, just going outdoors, enjoying being unemployed, to be honest.
Wealth means feeling secure and comfortable, being able to get my nails done, get the clothes I want, but also, my long-term goals as well, which are very important and usually revolve around having money, so
I'm waiting for someone to be a material girl. Because I'm like, same.
The experiences shared in this episode are not advice or a recommendation or opinion by guests to invest or act in the manner they have. An appearance on this series is not an endorsement by Sharesies of the views of the presenters or guests. Their views are their own.
So we've got Luke. Awesome to catch up again, Luke. So thanks so much for joining us today. I'd like to give you some rapid, quick-fire questions and just say whatever first comes to mind. So the first one, what's the best or a great financial decision that you've made?
I honestly, getting into business for me, that changed my whole life. Like, it's just been unreal for me and just helped me see life completely differently and see so much more opportunity and abundance. So that would have to be it.
Awesome. What about the hard stuff? Have you been through tough financial times, and how did you stay on target?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even, starting a business and trying to build something from scratch to get going, even, starting Keep the Change. And every time I start something, you start from zero. And I don't know, I've gotten better as you build more stuff in your life of you just have to hang in there and keep doing it, and that you'll get rewarded for it, whether it's building an audience, doing podcast episodes, going in on a Saturday, going in on a Sunday, showing up when you're a little bit sick, all of that stuff. Man, it is a grind sometimes. And yes, sometimes I'm like, you know what, I don't really want to do this right now, but teaching myself that, nah, mate, you have to do it because you'll get rewarded for it in a year has been such a good way for me to make sense of hanging in there and doing things even when it's tough.
Nice. Everything above zero compounds, eh?
Yes, I love that. That's good.
How's your perspective on money or wealth changed?
Yeah, massively. Yeah, I think I've kind of learnt to think a lot bigger, and as the bills in business and in life have gotten bigger, how can I think bigger to solve some of those? How can I help more people so that in turn the world rewards me? And how can I provide enough value in the world and the marketplace? And I just, as well, like what I used to do is I would go around and I'd see a helicopter and I'd think, wow, someone can afford the pilot, someone can afford the fuel. Like, how the hell are they doing that? To teach myself abundance rather than scarcity. And I think we're marketed to heavily, especially in a contracting economy, around how hard it is and how we've got a lack of. And then even just driving here, I looked at Commercial Bay and I thought, whoa, like someone built that, someone funded that. Like someone's outside having their lunch, someone went in there and bought their lunch, and I just look at it and think there's so much money changing hands. And when I started to turn my mindset to there's a lot of money out there rather than no, there's not, there's only a little bit, it's pretty hard, and all this stuff, once I unwired that to figure out like what's going on here, I thought, well, why can't I sort of participate in the game? So just thinking more abundantly has been so healthy for me.
Awesome. It's a great word, abundance, eh? Easiest step to improving your financial situation?
That is... I reckon, like, I'm a massive fan of a cash flow forecast in the business sense, but when I moved it into personal finance, so it's basically what cash do you have in the bank? What have you got coming up in terms of what's coming in and what's going out? So you can see that and you can visualize that. Some people call that a budget. I don't. I think you're forecasting and you're tracking what you've got coming in and going out. And then every month tracking your net worth. So your asset values and then your debt values. And this is what businesses do. This is what they report on. And I just modeled it and thought, well, if it's good enough for businesses around the world, why don't we do it individually as a framework? And I think if you do that for 18 months, it'll completely change the way that you look at your life and you start wrapping some goals around that. So that was actually one of the first tools that I built as part of Keep the Change to give people for free. And thousands of people have downloaded it. Every month end I say I'm doing it and people are like, can I get the templates? And I'm like, you can have the templates, but you have to do the doing and you have to do it, month in, month out. So I reckon that's a game changer because it's a great place to start to get really clear on what assets you've got, what debts you've got, and then what cash you've got coming in and what's going out, and then how you play the game from there or what you need to change up.
I love that one. Funny story, when Brooke and I, around the time we started Sharesies, or we'd quit our jobs, so we sort of basically lost our income. We had also opened a microbrewery not that long before that. We sort of had a few pressures going on, and not that long after that found out we were going to have a baby. But anyway, we started getting really minute on cash flow, to the point we did this thing like with just a payday everyday spreadsheet. So I'll have to check yours out. But we literally every day we would pay ourselves some money to make sure we weren't getting ahead of ourselves. And it also it would compound into the weekend so that we didn't have to give up on weekend fund and all this sort of stuff as well. Nice. Anyway, it was just this very quite a specific point in time I remember really well. So I love the cash flow forecasting. And last one for you, if you had a challenge for our listeners, what would that be? Yeah,
nice. I was actually going to run this as a workshop for Keep the Change, but I was about to say I don't have the time, but I just didn't prioritize it in the end. So that's my bad. But what it would be is to make $200 before the end of the year. And you get 100 of it, but the other 100 of it, you have to go and give to an absolute stranger. So you have to pay someone's groceries. You have to just walk up to someone. And I try and do this every Christmas. And I was coming back from a viaduct lunch a couple of years ago, and I just walked onto the bus and gave this lady cash that was driving it. And she was so what the hell is going on here? But she was so thankful and so stoked, and it always sort of stuck with me. And I think why I think this is important is it challenges us to think about where we might have a couple of $100. It could be sitting around the house or in the garage. It might be doing a little bit extra. It might be just doing something for your neighbor and getting paid for it, but challenging yourself to actually do it. But then you've got to go 50-50 for goodwill. So you got to keep a hundy, but the first hundy you have to give to somebody, and that's teaching you that you can give money away, and that's okay. It will come back, and it's forcing you and challenging you to think a bit differently. And also, you never know what the feeling is like to give to someone without expectation to a complete random in the street if you don't do it. And if you do it, then you get the feeling of it. And it could be that you realize that you're a massive giver and that really gets you going. And so then you become a massive philanthropist in your life or whatever. But if you believe that, every dollar you get, you've got to hold on to and that's it and all this stuff, and there'll never, you'll never have another dollar and stuff, then you're probably going to live like that and you're going to live scarce. So my challenge is basically to try and encourage people to think with a bit more giving abundance to make someone's day, and that you can make more money, and there's money all around us.
Mate, what a way to round that out. You're already democratizing wealth and education, and now you're bringing in the democratization of philanthropy as well. So very cool.